So we just saw the final episode of Hawkeye, of a 6-episode miniseries. I was unapologetically the only one of the only ones who seemed to be really standing for the show, who I went into the show not liking the concept. I did not want to see Kate Bishop replace Clint Barton just because MCU and my feminism in 2021. And for the most part, I would like to say that through episode 4, they exceeded my expectations. Granted, they weren't very high. But episode 5 and 6, especially 6, holy crap, did they drop the ball on this.
I was so disappointed.
Really dropped the ball on this in a way that's almost hard to believe. That's my personal opinion. This article is from CNN Entertainment, and that's another reason why it's amazing. Like, even CNN can't stand for this show.
Yeah.
So it says it says the title of the article is Hawkeye takes aim at too many targets with its very busy finale. Marvel packed a lot of presents under the tree for Hawkeye's 6th and final episode, an almost insanely busy hour that unfolded on too many fronts. While the studio deserves credit for indulging a show that dared to be as goofy as often as not, meaning like it's spent a good amount of time being funny, but as much time not being funny.
Yeah.
I would say it was not that it was funny and serious, it was that it was funny and neutral. Like, it felt boring at times, but it didn't really bother me because I enjoy dialogue heavy scenes, so I give a lot more leeway, whereas a lot of other people don't.
Boo.
Other than establishing Kate Bishop, this series felt more disposable than any of the other Disney Plus predecessors. I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I recommend just watching WandaVision and call it a night.
I wouldn't even watch. I just watched Loki.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
So it says, although Hawkeye, Clint Barton, played by Jeremy Renner, and his new sidekick, Kate, played by Haley Steinfeld, provided the show's center, Hawkeye was heavily punctuated by other Marvel properties pulled into its orbit. By the finale, this included not only Yelena from Black Widow, finally sharing her grief with Clint over Natasha's death, but the Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio, introduced in the gritty Daredevil series that Netflix ran from 2015 to 2018, coupled with an appearance by Charlie Cox as Daredevil in the Spider-Man sequel, and in Star Wars terms, we're seemingly probing the outer rim of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In one key respect, the show gave part of the game away with its casting, since Vera Farmiga would be an unusually high-profile talent to squander in what was been, up until the penultimate episode, a fairly basic role as Kate's mom. I would say they did blunder that. Okay, the first thing that hit me, early on, when they're about to go off and have this battle, right? Now, if you've seen the episode, we're going to do spoilers. We're not going to do a spoiler, non-spoiler for this, but basically they're going to have their big battle with the Tracksuit Mafia, and they're going to have at the party, at her family's party, right? And he goes, "You're my partner." It did, like, he like, she's trying to, like, go away, like, get away and, like, handle this on her own, and he uses the line, "You're my partner." That didn't feel earned at all. Like, maybe if there was a big conflict at the very end of the episode and he used it, it would have worked, but it didn't work here.
It didn't work. He could have said, "You're the sidekick. Go." No,
he should have just said, like, "Let's do this." She almost always defers to him in the show, right? She's stubborn and doesn't listen to what she's told when they're in action, but when they're planning, she seems to defer to him. So this made no sense. And then also, for the one good thing I'll say about it is Jack ends up being a good guy. Yeah. That was, like, the one good twist.
Were you upset about that?
No, I loved it. That part I did love. That was, like, the one saving grace, was him being all like theatrical as he's, like, going with swords at the
fencing.
He was fencing, right? So let me get this straight. By the end of this episode, first of all, they ruined Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, but we'll come back to that. Kate, after finding out that her mom was the reason that Jack's dad, what's that character? I don't remember the guy that was framed for, that Jack was framed for murdering his uncle. His uncle. It's not Alexander, but so his she frames her own fiance for his uncle's murder, right? And then Kate, who finds out earlier in season 5 that Clint is Ronin, killed a bunch of people, is like, "Oh, you made mistakes," but then she turns her mom into the cops. What the hell? That doesn't make any freaking sense. Did that make sense to you?
No, but she was upset because her mom was also in cahoots with Kingpin.
But you turn in your own flesh and blood for a crime that was literally.
But it's Christmas.
But so the mom, and we're not giving the mom a pass here. She's a layered character, right? Even then, like, there's not much there. It's like we were struggling. Like, what, you were poor? Like, if we knew more, if we saw more of Vera Farmiga as her mom in the show, maybe that would have hit harder. But we didn't see very much of her in the show, so we don't really feel any emotional connection there.
Plus, they weren't that poor. First episode, they had a swanky apartment.
No, I think what they're saying is that he was in debt. So they're on the outside. They look rich, but they're actually poor.
Yeah.
And that can so first of all, that scene frustrated the hell out of me. One thing I will say is another thing is Yelena. Yeah. Again, she just decides to. So she gets the story from Clint secondhand.
When he whistled, I was like, dude, this is like Batman versus Superman, where Martha. Yeah. He's like, how do you know that name? All Clint did was whistle.
Yep. And then explain to her secondhand. She has no way to know if he's telling the truth or not. Maybe this would have hit us more emotionally if she wasn't just thrown in episode 5 and 6. Yeah. That's the problem. The Yelena's character and Wilson Fisk's character, Clint's character, D'Onofrio's character, were ruined because they just make appearances at the end. You have no idea, as somebody who doesn't care about Daredevil, how formidable Vincent D'Onofrio is as that character of Kingpin, as Wilson Fisk. And to see them just dispose of him like that, I don't think he's dead. They show, you hear the bullet off screen.
Yeah.
But still, he's nerfed the whole time. Like he should be they tried to do it with music, right? They tried to add foreboding music. Yeah. And that delivery, like, he has an amazing voice, the way he delivers the words from that character. But you don't feel any connection to it because it's not the same Wilson Fisk that he portrayed in Daredevil, because objectively they're not the same reality anymore. Yeah. So it doesn't feel authentic to the Daredevil series. It doesn't feel serious enough. It feels like almost too serious to be in MCU, but not serious enough to be real striking. So he's just kind of lost. I will say that they did do a good job of not making Kate Bishop look like she's perfect. Like, Fisk beats the crap out of her almost that whole time. She gets lucky at the end, basically. Like, the scene where he breaks all the arrows was sick. Like, that was really good. But that character, no justice was done to it. I will say that Linda Cardellini, again, the best as Laura. And then she gets the watch back at the end, proving that she was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, right? Yeah. So that works. But in general, and he did make it home in time for Christmas. So he
did, but he brought Kate with him.
That was weird. I don't know what I was expecting.
Because she's an orphan now.
Yes.
Even though she's 22.
And she sent her own mom to jail.
Yeah, she's 22 and now she's an orphan. I have to take her home.
So I'm going to go spend time with this rando family and light the Ronin suit on fire.
It's a Viking funeral for the Ronin.
That really bothered me that she was willing to send her own mom to jail for framing someone for murder and working with Fisk, but Clint, who is objectively a murderer as Ronin, he didn't arrange murder. She just went out and indiscriminately killed bad guys. Oh, well, it's fine. You're
killing gangsters.
Life was hard. It was the blip. Things were bad. There's no consistency there. Like, the best I can say about this show is that Haley Steinfeld did very well as Kate Bishop outside the costume. I enjoyed that. They didn't make her invincible. They made her really good at a bow and arrow really quick, but they were pressed for time. They needed to get this story going because it took place all over the holiday season. Yeah. So you couldn't show earlier parts of her building up that talent because it wouldn't have fit with the theme. Yeah. So I'll say that Haley Steinfeld did a very good job as Kate Bishop outside the costume.
That's true.
But the rest of it, I'm just not a fan.
What about, like, the LARPers? The LARPers out of nowhere put on their costumes for no reason.
That was cheese, but they did kind of mitigate that when Clint goes, "We're gonna die."
Yeah, I love that part.
That was funny.
I love that part because he's like, "We're gonna die."
It's not like they played it for serious, right? So between that and Yelena just randomly having a change of heart because boo-hoo, he
whistled.
He told you a story that may or may not be true.
He whistled. That's what changed her heart because she's like, "How do you know that?"
Yep.
And he's like,
How do you know that name?
Natasha.
They should have done that. They should have just redone.
Yeah.
Natasha. That would have been really funny. They should have done it. And then
he should have spoken Russian.
Maybe
he should have done that. That would have made more sense instead of a freaking whistle.
And then I get the reference, but it's like also they kept the Echo story going. She's getting better with each episode.
I like this episode.
I'm still not a fan. Like
of
I
her.
Didn't like her doing that to Kingpin. I don't give a crap about the Kazi character. That guy was discount Jon Snow the whole time.
Hey, come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on. Who's going to translate what she's saying now?
I know, right? He's like I felt like they gave him more screen time than a lot of people, and there was still no emotional resonance when he's like, "Oh, we didn't want this for you." It's just didn't work, man.
This wasn't my life; it was yours.
No, he says this wasn't your life. It was like he wanted that. Like he wanted that life to be his. Yeah. He didn't want her to become a criminal.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. They tried, but I really none of this episode. And it sucks too because I loved. Okay, that's exaggerating. I'm giving it. I tolerated and enjoyed most of episodes 1 through 4, but 5 and 6 just dropped off a cliff for me. Those Kingpin and Yelena should have been throughout the whole series. They shouldn't have just been added in. I'm sure it's expensive to get Vincent D'Onofrio and Florence Pugh, but they should have been part of the episodes prior. Otherwise, there's no emotional connection there.
I don't know. Like for me, I'm just done with it. I'm like, good riddance.
Yeah, Miracle's very happy right now. Miracle is very happy that we got that we're done with this. Did you watch the post-credit scene of the whole?
Yeah, I did. Before you move your head back, there's a stink bug.
I know. Where?
Behind your head. There we go. Yeah, but
See how cool I played that?
Yeah.
I cringed really hard.
I didn't understand that whole part. I was like, oh, they finally showed us what they're singing
and
about.
No actual cliffhanger or story continuation, just the
But they said at the end of that, they're like, happy holidays from Marvel Studios.
I get it. It's a holiday special. I was really maybe if they had stuck the landing on this episode, I would have given that thing more leeway, but I didn't. But they didn't. So.
But okay, Yelena and Kate fight scene, I thought that was kind of funny.
That's the other thing. The elevator scene didn't work for me. Like where they're like
where she smacked her hand. She was like, no.
Maybe if it was a different episode and I was being more charitable, that would have been funny. But like the whole thing, like there's nothing threatening or at all assassinish about the Yelena character to me.
Because you said like she's very tiny.
She looks tiny. She looks like she's still got baby fat on her cheeks. So it's like I don't buy it.
They try to age her up. Do you notice that?
No. Well, her hair, like with her hair.
No, like the makeup. They try to age her up.
Yeah, it makes sense. They have to because she looks so young, and that makes sense as a femme fatale assassin, but not as a brutal combatant. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if she's somebody who infiltrates a party, right, and slips something into your drink, that works. Yeah. But as somebody who's just getting into hand-to-hand combat,
she looks so tiny. And then like Haley Steinfeld, dude, she's tall compared to her.
Yeah, she is.
So the whole fight scene, I thought it wasn't fair. It just looked like a toddler fighting like a grown adult.
So if we're going to give a positive for the show as a whole, not this episode, is there a positive that you have coming out of it? Is there something you liked that you maybe didn't realize you would have liked?
He made it for Christmas.
He made it for Christmas.
That's it.
Yes.
The dog.
Positive.
Our favorite character, the dog, who doesn't talk.
It's a positive portrayal of Clint as a father. Like he is shown as very competent, right? I was not a fan of him. What was the thing on the ice? Like where she saved. Like I felt like he should have been more competent there as well. But. That's just me. But I think it's a positive portrayal of him getting home to his family. I think it's a positive portrayal of family, which I'm always in support of. I love the introduction or this reintroducing that Laura Barton was a SHIELD agent. Yeah. That's fine. But in general, I think that Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, not as the Archer, proved that she could actually do this role.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe when she gets to do this role, not in the shadow of Clint, maybe it will be better.
But I love it at the end where she was like, so what should be my superhero name? She's like, Lady Arrow. He's
Arrow.
Like, no,
definitely not. Or like Lady Hawk. He's like, no. Like that was fine. I was okay with that. Like I said, I enjoyed them together when they were not doing the archery stuff or any type of the fighting.
I prefer that more because like at that end scene where like he's like nah, and he's like what about this, and then they cut it and I'm like what the heck.
Well, because they're just saying what about, and then Hawkeye comes on the screen. That's the official transfer of power from Clint Barton to Haley Stein or to Kate Bishop as Hawkeye.
They should have done that with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Should have done it. I guess for me, like, is like it could have been like the 4 good episodes hold up. I'll never watch any of this again. It doesn't have rewatch value for me.
It doesn't. Like again, like I was talking about it when we first watched.
Give Jack his own show. Go on.
Like when I was talking about this in the beginning when we started watching the show.
Yeah.
I usually watch these shows when I'm working.
Yeah.
Now
it's part of your work, so you have to pay closer attention.
I know, but it's funny because like usually when I watch it, and if it's a good show, I somewhat pay attention. And like if you ask me what happens when you leave the room while I'm busy typing, I can tell you exactly what happens. But with this show, I'm like, I don't know what happened.
They mentioned in the article, very disposable.
Yeah.
The whole thing felt disposable to me. I would say don't go back to the well with this one. Maybe Haley Steinfeld.
Just throw it. Bring it. Like the movie Ring, just throw it down the well.
Yeah.
Bye.
So I mean, it was a good attempt. They tried. I don't think the series overall was as bad as most people were expecting it to be. But those 2 episodes at the end really killed it. Really didn't do well, in my opinion. If they killed off Wilson Fisk, I will riot. I better find out that was like a fake, and that gunshot, like hopefully like Daredevil dropped down off screen and like stopped it, like hit her with the baton, and the bullet goes flying. So that's my hope for that. But fingers crossed that there's better things to come. I'm more excited about Gotham PD to be honest.
But it's not even Marvel.
I don't care about Marvel. I watch Marvel because Marvel like gets it right once in a while. But for the most part, I'm a DC guy, so I'm more excited about that, and I'm more excited about the Batman. So
the Batman.
Yes. So any final? Okay. What that's your one thing that you did like?
The dog.
The dog.
Who doesn't talk?
Is there a way that you would have felt that they could have, like, what one thing would you have changed about the ending that you think would have made it better?
I really didn't like Yelena being in there. Yeah. Like there was no need for her.
Either have her in all the episodes or don't use her at all.
Exactly, because she's a widower.
Yep.
She's a Black Widow.
Yep.
Basically, utilize that because you're saying that she's a Black Widow. They're like the most fiercest agents. Well, not even agents. They're spies. They're warriors.
Assassins.
Thank you. I was using every other word but that. But wanting you to put her in episode 1 from day 1. Put her in like she's hiding in the shadows, like she's plotting to kill Clint, and then like change her heart. Like she's like, dude, he just wants to get to his family. Like she's listening to him talking to his daughter, and like remember in episode 1,
like she bugs him, and she's listening to him off screen, or like from another building, and like it ends up slowly changing her opinion of him.
Yeah, and she's like listening to how he feels about Natasha, because like Natasha and him, I feel like they were trying to push it where like they were supposed to fall in love.
It was never going to work given that his family was already part of the show.
Yeah, but then that's when they put in the Hulk. They're like, just take her.
Go with the Hulk.
Yeah.
Couldn't even give him Thor. The hell with
redhead and blonde.
The hell with Jane Foster. Natasha. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think if they would have been better off using her the whole time and have her opinion of him slowly change.
Yeah, that makes more sense instead of stupid whistle.
Yep.
I hate that whistle part because like she whistles out of nowhere and then he whistles back.
Yep.
And she's like, "How do you know that?
How do you know that whistle?" So yeah, I mean, I the only credit I'll give them is they got Clint home in time for Christmas. I would have been pissed if they hadn't gotten him home in time for Christmas. So at least we got that.
Also, what did he give his kids for Christmas? I know one of them got a Nerf gun.
Yeah, I saw the Nerf gun. That was the only. No bow and arrow for the kid. That's too bad.
That would have been funny. Get him a Nerf.
A Nerf bow and arrow.
Yeah, they have it.
That would have been awesome. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.